welcome to the 10-day Lolita challenge. This challenge was initially a blog post challenge by Lolita Wonderland. I'll put a link to the original post she did about the list of challenges on her blog. I'll put that in the description below. I decided it would be fun to do this one as a YouTube series rather than an actual blog, because I've done a lot of actual blogging challenges over on Rolly's Ramblings, and I thought, hey, why not take this one to YouTube? So our first topic today is one favourite brand and why. And in case it's not obvious by what I'm wearing and what's next to me, my favourite brand is Metamorphose temps de fille. Now I have no idea if I got the pronunciation right there, and so for the rest of the video I'm just going to call them Meta. Anyway, Meta is hands down my favourite Lolita brand. The first thing I love about Meta is that their prints are absolutely beautiful. They really suit my taste quite well, and even though a lot of the things they produce aren't things I would particularly wear, I always admire the thought and what goes into the art. I think that their design in general is really quite solid. I mean, sure, Meta does give us the weird and the wonderful, but I like the weird and the wonderful. I mean, after all, even though Lolita has its own trends and popular and unpopular things, we're a bunch of weirdos, really. We are an alternative fashion subculture, and I like that Meta fully embraces that. As an example of a thing I probably wouldn't wear but I still think is really cool, I have this shawl. I got it at a swap meet. I didn't really want it, but I figured, why not? Because the girl wanted something of mine. And, you know, I wouldn't have bought this, really, but it's beautiful. I love how they've worked their brand logo into the sort of arcane circles thing. They've done it here again with the actual brand name as well. And I just think it's really clever. It's, to a Lolita fan, you spot those things. If you're not a Lolita, you just think, hey, cool, arcane circles. And I think it's really clever when Meta does things like that. The second thing I love about Meta is that they're reliable. Every year, at least since I've been a Lolita, they've released a sailor-themed collection, and even though each year the designs are slightly different and, you know, the cuts and the colours and everything, there's always enough consistency year by year that if you gradually wanted to build up, you could. You could buy one this year, one next year, and a few from the previous year secondhand, and they would all match tolerably well, even though each of them would bring something different to the table. They also continually, it used to be like once a year they'd bring out their Wild Lolita print. They're doing it a lot more frequently than that these days. But they are staples that you can expect from them. I do know other brands do this, like Baby has their sort of classical series where sort of no matter what, there's always something in stock that's been around for years and years. So Meta's not unique in this, but I do like their approach to it. I do like that it's not just re-releasing the exact same things over and over again. They're just building on a theme that we're known to come and expect. Now, related to that, over the past few years, I've noticed that brands have been releasing less lucky packs, and I hope that that's not a permanent trend. But I've always loved that Meta does their skirt lucky packs. In fact, back in the day, back in 2014, I think? I'll check my blog and link it in below. That was my first brand. I bought 2 of Meta's skirt packs. I didn't end up keeping much of what I got there, but some things, such as, you probably can't see it very well, but I've got pinned a hair clip to this dress for added floof. You know, I've still got stuff from way back then, and that was my introduction to brand. Those were always good value, and obviously lucky packs, especially that sort of blind bag style, they're always hit and miss as to whether you'll get something good, but Meta's always seemed to be really great value for money and came out regularly. Like I say, at the moment they don't seem to be doing that so much, but I really hope that's not a permanent thing and that they do come back soon. The third thing that I really like about Meta as a brand is their inclusivity. I mean, back in the day before I even started Lolita, they were one of the first brands to have a website in English to encourage overseas ordering. I mean, nowadays, most of the brands do that. It's pretty easy to get your hands on stuff new, but Meta really led the way in that. And these days, they still do. I know a lot of like smaller overseas Lolita shops that stock in a lot of brands, a lot of them tend to carry Meta. I don't know whether it's just because it's easier or whether it's an association we have these days that Meta is the accessible overseas brand. But I think that's really great. I mean, obviously as an overseas Lolita myself, I like that things are accessible to me. And on that note, Meta's sizing. I mean, Meta has always been known as a plus size friendly brand. They've got a lot of full back shirring, a lot of full shirring, and yeah, a lot of their stuff I've found, I mean, TMI given my measurements in a YouTube video, but I've got 120 centimeter bust and I can fit their full shirring, they're even not quite full shirring like this dress, and I can fit that with ease. And recently as well, they've been doing made to order on certain dresses, mostly the Lolita ones, and they've been releasing them in regular size, and plus size. It's been a bit weird because the plus size, A, it sounds terrible, and B, it's only available to international customers. What about the chubby Japanese girls? But the plus size, despite those things, it goes up to 155 centimeter bust on the most recent one, and that's really generous, and I've never seen sizing from a Japanese brand that is that generous, and I really appreciate that they're giving us what we want, especially us, you know, larger sized Westerners such as myself. And they're doing it as a made to order, so it's not like they're stocking the shelves with stuff that won't sell. It's a really sensible business model, and it's really, you know, great for us Westerners. Another thing I like about Meta, and this is a very specific thing, is I love their socks. Their socks are stretchy and comfortable and have beautiful designs. As a plus size girl, I find that Meta and Innocent World fit me best. And, you know, I'm not mad about that because look how beautiful their socks are. Like, they've got some really lovely designs, and yeah, as I said, they fit me well, they're really cute. What's not to love? Something else I love about Meta as a brand is that Meta doesn't have one distinctive look. I kind of touched on this when I was talking about how to just generally I like their aesthetic earlier, but you can have super sweet Meta, like, you know, this lady over here. I mean, it's beautiful, it's yellow, it's fluffy with bows and tulle and everything beautiful. And then they've got, you know, much more dramatic things like Dim Light off the top of my head, Magic or something or other. Anywho, despite my inability to remember print names, Meta is an array of looks. I mean, other brands do definitely experiment, but the same thing is, like, Angelic Pretty looks like Angelic Pretty, even if you've got, like, Holy Lantern versus, I don't know, Daydream Carnival. You can tell that they're obviously very different prints, but the overall vibe is the same. While Meta does, I suppose, have a distinctive overall vibe, which is, I guess, a bit more old school, for lack of a better term. I don't know, they haven't modernized the vibe in quite the same way that brands like AP have. And they are consistent, but they give you a lot more. They give you so many more options, and I'm not just talking about how dramatically different, say, their Lolita to their Sailor collections is. I just feel like if I could only ever shop from one Lolita brand, I mean, I'd be miserable as hell, because much as I'm ranting about Meta being my favorite brand here, I love all brands. Like, I never want to be nailed down to just one. But if I had to pick one Lolita brand and I could only have one Lolita brand going forwards, it would be Meta. It absolutely would be Meta. Even if I have trouble pronouncing their name in full, and even if I don't, you know, love every piece they come out with, Meta is my favorite brand, and that's why.